Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Front Row Seats. Today I am joined with special guests and my new co-host for these previews and reviews of the Premier League. It's Ben. How you doing, my friend?
I'm great, mate. How are you? Hi, guys.
Good, I'm good. I'm good. Welcome to the channel. He'll be here regular, so get used to seeing everyone. So basically, what we're going to do is every Monday or Tuesday, obviously we'll come out Tuesday, we'll review the weekend's games. Every Friday, we'll preview to the weekend game in the Premier League. We did do a preview, but editing went wrong and I kind of fucked up. So no preview, just the recap. So we'll start off with the first game of the weekend, which was Villa versus Arsenal. Villa obviously came out winning 1-0. Man of the match was Ollie Watkins. Villa have done the double down on Arsenal. XG had this at Villa at 1.12 to Arsenal's 0.88. So XG probably said it was a fair result. Possession was 6% in Arsenal's favour, though. They did have more shots, Arsenal did, 14-12, but it was the shots on target that was massive. Villa had 8 shots on target, where Arsenal only had 3. Now, don't get me wrong, I think I'd probably look at the game, it probably should have ended a draw, from what I watched, from what I believe. But Villa did a double and, you know, they took a chance, basically. What do you think? How do you think the game went, Ben?
Villa started off really well, let's face it. They come out of the blocks. It was a massive mistake from Cedric. Let's face it, he's not up to the game speed at that time. If that goal didn't go in, I think that game ends 0-0 because there was literally nothing in that game apart from that goal. But Villa played defensively fantastic. There's no fault.
100%.
But Arsenal, for me, just lack that killer instinct at the moment. They're just not having those goals. Aubameyang looks well off his normal top game. Lacazette, nowhere near. Pepe, I thought, had last 3 games was fantastic. This game didn't turn up. Saka seems to be their only bright spark at the moment. So it's a question of where the goals are going to come from for Arsenal. Defensively, they just seem to be a bit over the place. But over, I think overall, my personal opinion, I think Villa deserved the win because they defended doggedly. They was doing the basics right, and they had the chance and they took it. Yes, it was a lucky goal, but overall, Arsenal didn't really threaten their goal. It was as simple as that.
No, I totally agree, mate. Could not agree more. And obviously, the next one was the Burnley-Brighton, which finished 1-1. The man of the match, according to the Premier League official website, was Sanchez, goalkeeper from Brighton. And to be fair, looking at the stats and looking at the highlights, Burnley could say they were unlucky, really. I mean, you look at XG, I'm a massive fan of XG. I know not many people are, but I am a massive fan of XG. Burnley had 2.11 XG to Brighton's 0.63. So in XG's numbers, they probably should have won 2-0 or at least 2-1. Possession, it was 54-45. There's not much split. But the shots, again, it was Burnley's 20 to Brighton's 10, with shots on target, Burnley having 7 on target, where Brighton only had 2. Now, again, I think it was points. It was one of the things that probably, looking back at it, I think Burnley probably deserved the win. But it was a great point, I think, for both sides because, 1, it's a point extra above the bottom 3. 2, if you look at Burnley's point of view, Brighton have been on fire recently. And they've done well to get a point. And 2, I look at Brighton's point of view, I never beat Anfield. I beat Liverpool at Anfield, fair enough. But going away to Brighton, no matter who you are, unless you're Man City, teams struggle. They just struggle going to Turf Moor. So I think, for both sides, I think Burnley will be a bit more disappointed. I think overall, both teams should be pretty pleased of a point and not be too worried.
Well, the funniest thing is obviously with the prediction video we did on Friday, this is the only game that I actually got right for score-wise, 1-1. Funny enough. It was going the way I expected to go. I think both teams set up not to lose. Burnley had a bit more firepower. They had a lot more chances, but 100%. Brighton took theirs. And they got a point out of it. And like you're saying, Brighton are not an easy team to play at the moment. I love how Potter set them up. Mope, Trossard up front, they're very good. Defensively, they're very organised. So to me, it wasn't going to be a high-scoring game. It was going to be the 1-0, 1-1 kind of situation because of how both teams set up. Pretty much both teams are the same, in my opinion.
100%.
Just the formations are different. And there's a bit better. I think Brighton have a bit more technically up front better. Than Burnley do. But for me, it was kind of like I was expecting a 1-1. I got a 1-1. It was a typical Burnley-Brighton performance of both of them. Do you know what I mean? both set up basically not to lose, and that was the aim game, and they both got it. And it was a point valuably shared between both teams.
100%, 100%. And the next game was obviously, which this one probably surprised a lot of people, including myself. Newcastle actually beat Southampton 3-2. Man of the match was Almiron, obviously getting 2 goals. Hendrick got sent off in the 49th minute. And I in my notes I've put it was a disappointing result, I think, for Saints, Southampton, because I know, I don't get wrong, Newcastle took the chances, fair enough, but you've just lost 9-0 to Man United team, and you're going against probably one of the worst informed teams of the league right now. And I think I was speaking to a Southampton fan actually the other day, and he was hoping for some sort of reaction. Do you know what I mean? And he said to me, if there's any team he'd want to play after losing 9-0, would be Newcastle. And I don't blame him. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I watched the game and they hit the post. I mean, XG had Newcastle at 0.79. So it's not even a goal they had, but Newcastle somehow scored 3. Where Southampton was 1.53. Possession was 74% Southampton. 14 shots for Southampton compared to Newcastle 6, but only 5 on target. So it looks a bit like a shit out from Newcastle, really. Obviously, I know there was an error from Southampton's keeper, but I think as a Southampton fan, you've got to be disappointed because no offense to Newcastle, I think Newcastle fans will admit no one saw Newcastle scoring 3 or even winning, to be fair. So we both had Southampton to bounce back, I believe, didn't we?
Yeah, we both did. Yeah, definitely.
And I just think to concede 12 goals in four days, I think personally is poor. Don't matter who you are. Do you know what I mean? You're hoping.
Oh, yeah, you're going to look at that, yeah.
And maybe I'm being a bit harsh on Southampton here, so I'm sure the comments will tell me if I am, but I feel like you've got to bounce back after losing 9-0. Where it's just a point, you can't go to Newcastle and concede 3 in the first half. That's what I think, anyway.
See, for me, I completely agree with you, but I think towards the end of the game, Newcastle were lucky to come away with that win because the first half, Southampton wasn't the Southampton. There were poor mistakes. Newcastle took the chances. Let's face it, they took the chances.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Callum Wilson was on fire again. Almiron, different class this season.
Wilson didn't score, did he?
No, but he was doing for making the runs. He was doing stuff like he was being a nuisance. What a good striker should be doing.
Yeah.
But Southampton second half, when James Ward-Prowse's free kick went in, which let's just face it, is an absolute belt of a free
goal
kick.
Of the weekend.
Simple as. Let's just praise that. Southampton were on top. Obviously, after the red card for Hendricks, it massively Newcastle shut up shop.
Yeah. And
Southampton hit the post. Well. They got a goal cleared off the line. Offsides. It was literally, it was attack against defence. It was a very much a complete different game. Yes, the look of the green was on Newcastle's side, which I think a lot of Newcastle fans will be saying it's about time they had a look of the green. So, but on overall, I think it was a game of 2 halves, and I think Newcastle just shaded it because of the first half performance.
Yeah,
I think that what killed Southampton for me was a goal just before half time with the McCarthy clearance and that lot. That completely killed it because in injury time, you going back in at 2-1. You're thinking, hang on, we've got these. They're down to 10 men. We can get back at these. 3-1, it's a different story. They can shut up shop. They've got that safety net of 2 goals.
100%, man.
But I didn't, like you say, wasn't predicting a Newcastle win. I was predicting Southampton because of the bounce back. But
100%. The next game, there's not much to talk about because I think it's quite a boring game. It was Fulham 0, West Ham 0. Man of the match was Cresswell. I don't know if I'd give anyone a man of the match. XG had it at 1.77 in Fulham's favour to West Ham's 1.07. Possession was in Fulham's favour. Shots were in Fulham's favour. I mean, Fulham had 20 shots, but only 2 on target. So that's a shocking day, I think, for Fulham. To only have 2 shots on target from 20 shots is poor.
Oh, God, yeah.
But obviously, I think the thing we need to talk about really is, and it's been spoken about a lot, and I'm not going to talk about it loads, it's just the red card incident. I mean, we've spoken about it before we've come on air. We both agree. It was a shock. Everyone in world football knew that was the wrong decision, bar that twat in the middle of the park, whatever his name is. What's his name?
Mike Dean.
It
wasn't just him, it's the VAR as well. The man in his ear telling him to go look at it.
But and Mike Dean's the one who gives him the red card.
Yeah, but the excuse to get to check the VAR is... We could be on this for hours because I think it was an absolute... We both agree it was a complete ridiculous decision.
100%.
It really was.
And like, when you have Mitrovic telling the ref, like, look, he hit me, but I wasn't asking for a red card. Like, he didn't mean it making it. He just thinking me. And it's like, their own players saying that. Why would you be like, okay, fair enough? And like, yeah, the clinch fix is bollocks. It was just, it's been overturned now. That's why I'm not going to rant about it too much because.
But let's face it, Schick's about 17 foot. Do you know what I mean? Anyone's going to be up to his elbow kind of situation. Just moving himself out of the way. It's ridiculous.
It's been overturned now, so I'll let it. I'm not that arsed about it anymore because it's been overturned. But we'll have an episode one day where we talk about the mistakes of refs because it's getting stupid. The next game I've gone for, in my eyes, was the best match of the game for a neutral, which was Man United 3, Everton 3. They gave, according to the match, man of the match was Bruno. Even though I would have been, I don't know who to give it to because no one scored. I don't think anyone scored 2 goals. I don't think
Bruno's goal deserves man of the match, mate.
Yeah. Let's face it. Yeah, that goal was unreal. XG had it at very close. Man U 1.63 to Everton's 1.59. Possession was in Man U's favour 6%. Shots were in Man U's favour with 14-6 and 5 on target compared to Everton's 3. So basically, every time Everton had a shot on target, it went in. Man U played well, actually, to be fair. Like, it's just that bit of lack of concentration at the end of the game. You should never allow Calvert-Lewin to get that space in the box because he will put it away. But I think fair play to Everton. Goals XG should have been a draw anyway. And I think looking at it, like if you look right, this is the only thing I have a problem with XG. Look at the game, you probably say Man U deserved it if you actually did the eye test. But then when it comes to clear-cut chances, Everton probably had just some good chances Man U did. And that's why they probably did get a draw in the end. So I think a draw was slightly harsh on Man U's side, but it was a great result for Everton. And it was, the last minute winner was nice to see.
It was a fantastic result for the league, I think. I think it opens it up again. It obviously gives the breathing space to City, but the game for me should have been dead and buried at half-time. It was 2-0 to United. It was comfortable. You know what I mean? Everton didn't really give them any kind of sucker punch or anything. Everton were playing poor.
Mm-hmm.
Second half, United just kind of think, we're returning up comfortable. The first goal goes in. They don't react. Second goal goes in. They get a bit of reaction. They get the third. And again, it's poor goalkeeping from De Gea and it's poor defending from Maguire. That's cost them.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. I don't rate Maguire at all. I think he's very much a very, very motivated defender. Slow on the turn, not very good captain, doesn't lead very well. But for me, United had that game in the bag, and that's a massive 2-point drop for me. That if I was a United fan or a United player, that would feel like a loss because to be in a 2-0 comfortable position, let's face it, Everton being poor.
They were in the first half.
The Everton in the first half were poor. Second half, they weren't much better in the second half.
I think they came out, though. They came out.
They took the chances. United could have been 4-5. The counter-attacking, but it was just a lack of concentration, which for me, a captain, you know what I mean? Everyone knows 2-0 is the most dangerous scoreline in world football. Anyone that knows football knows 2-0 is a dangerous scoreline. Because you get that one goal back in, you think, do we attack or sit back? And United tried to defend it, didn't work. Got the third goal, which was a bit lucky because Olsen slips, but again, look at the green. And then Calvert-Lewin puts in back of the net at the last kick of the game. Yeah. Everton did United a Fergie time, let's face it.
Yeah, 100%. Then we go to Sunday now. First game, Spurs versus West Brom was 2-0 win Spurs, obviously. Man of the match was Heung-min Son. And I literally just put in my, because I don't want to talk about it a lot, I literally put in my notes, Spurs got the job done. They kept the clean sheet, got the 2 goals. It was very comfortable for Spurs, to be fair. We'll talk about it probably close to the end of the season. I've been very disappointed by Big Sam. I don't see anything from his West Brom side. I really don't, mate. I thought when he came in, he might be able to. If anyone's going to do it, I thought Big Sam's going to do it.
Oh, agreed. Big Sam's.
But this might be a job. It maybe just be a bit too much for him. It might be his first relegation. Because obviously I know it's only one game, and I'm not judging it. But to me, mate, it was a walk in the park for Spurs.
For me, I had a shock. I had a 2-1 West Brom win because I felt the way Spurs were playing, and obviously not everyone knowing if Kane's going to be back or not, I felt it was a time that there was right for the picking. Yeah, I just felt West Brom didn't take the opportunity that was in front of them.
They were poor, weren't they?
They were very poor. Spurs, like you say, got the job done. They had to because the results against Chelsea being poor, the result against Liverpool being poor, Brighton especially being poor.
But they got Kane back though. They're different when they got Kane now. I've been saying it for ages now.
That's the thing. But they had to get that bounce back because if they got a draw out of it, then I think I think the writing could have been some kind of on the wall from Mourinho because it's coming. It's very much it's a dogged performance with relying massively heavily on Kane.
Yeah, 100%,
do you know what I mean? Even Son doesn't
yeah.
look the same about Kane kind of situation. But again, like you say, I think the job could be too big for West Brom. I think as you see the league now, at the bottom three, I think that's it. That's it. I think that's how the bottom three will be.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for Sheffield United come back because I think it would be fantastic. But I just can't see it happening.
Yeah.
Run of games 100%. And run of form. But yeah, it's kind of walking apart for Spurs.
Yeah.
2-0 kind of like is a typical Mourinho scoreline in all fairness.
100%. I actually got that one right. I did say Spurs 2-0. So next one was another boring game for a neutral. Wolves 0, Leicester 0. Man of match according to Premier League website was Justin. Like I said, I watched it. I couldn't tell you when to give it to. It was boring. I think so anyway. Maybe I'm a bit harsh. Leicester were the better team, I think. XG backs me up. No, XG does not back me up, actually. That's a lie. Wolves had 1.61. Leicester had 1.12. Possession was in Leicester's favour at 56%. Shots that were equal, 13-13. And Leicester had 3 shots on target to Wolves only had 1. Now, I'll tell you why I thought Leicester were a better team, but I know why Wolves had better XGs because... Did you watch the game, Ben?
I watched the majority of it. I watched like a good 45 minutes, 50 minutes of it.
Silva got given the ball, and all I had to do was slot it back past Cash Schmeichel. So it's a bit of a ricochet. It fell to him in
good save. It's a good save in my opinion. I think he reacted really well because Schmeichel did to it.
As much as it was a good save,
he should have buried it.
You should not be letting your keeper save at that close.
He should be burying it.
If you're a striker, that is the perfect thing. Yeah. And they scored that goal. I think they win them 1-0, to be fair, because Leicester didn't really create enough. I didn't think they were.
No, I completely
standards.
Agree.
I think they brought Vardy on, and they didn't really get him in behind. That's because Wolves sit back. Wolves are very defensive. I don't really want to talk about much about this game because it was very boring. I think I don't want to bore the people that's watching. This is another reason why I've always said Leicester will not win the league because of games like this.
I completely agree. I mean, Wolves. It was a good performance from Wolves after obviously recent weeks before obviously the Chelsea game where they got a good result there. Mm-hmm. Before that, there was on a bad run of form. Now they're slowly picking up results. Yep. So I think it's good for Nuno. Leicester, it was poor from them. I think they set up completely wrong. The miss Vardy.
Yeah.
Addison, Barnes weren't top notch. Like you say, it was pretty much a cliche game. I think, like you say, Silva scores that goal. It's 1-0, maybe 1-1 because it might have kicked Leicester up the arse kind of situation.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah.
I think it was a fair result at the end of the day. None of the teams could create anything. Really. It was open the top 4 up really, kind of for other teams to get maybe sneak in there.
Maybe. The next game was obviously the big game of the weekend, the one that everyone was looking forward to, especially me as a neutral. Liverpool 1, Man City 4. I think we both had Man City to win 2-1.
Yeah, we both had that.
Man of match was they gave it to Gundogan, but I gave it to Foden.
It's got to be Foden. He ran that show. Some
of my notes I put was Stockport Iniesta masterclass, Allison disaster, which it was to be fair. And
God, yeah.
I'm not gonna get his back because he's one of the best keepers in the world. They all have these games where now and again they lose that bit of concentration, and obviously the first mistake shook him. That's why I did it again. But Man City, which levels above Liverpool, and I think they've got one fingertip on the title now. They really have.
I think they got one hand.
So you say I would say one hand, but I'm not going to put it out there too much. I did a preview earlier on this year. I mean, on my channel about 3 weeks ago, I said, go back if you haven't watched. I said Man City to win the league then. I still think Man City win the league now. They're starting to click now, and they've not even got De Bruyne or Aguero yet. XG had this game at 1.2 to Liverpool to Man City's 3.12, so fair result. Possession Liverpool's favour, actually 55%. Same amount of shots. Just Man City had 5 on target to Liverpool's 3. I think Liverpool were very poor. I think they were very poor. They were good they were poor for start first half. They grew into it into the second part of the first half. Then they went 1-0 down. Then they obviously got the pounds. I thought, okay, they're going to kick on now. And I was hoping for a bit more back and forth. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I was expecting a bit more.
It was Alisson. It was literally like, look, if we're being honest and we're being like, obviously, I know people don't like Liverpool, but like, take away Alisson. Obviously, it's cliche to say if my grandma had bullshit with my granddad, but like, take away the Alisson mistakes. It's 2-1. I mean, you're right with our prediction.
Yeah.
But Man City looked better. They were pressing high, and I just don't get this whole Henderson and centre half because they're missing him so much in that midfield. They are missing him so much in that midfield. They've got centre halves on the bench. Just believe in your centre halves that you have signed in January. Don't give me this shit about, oh, we've got injuries. You pick these centre backs. They are good enough to play for you now. I'm fed up hearing an excuse from Liverpool fans. Klopp. I love the way Klopp plays football, but he is pissing me off so much recently. Like, yes, you got injuries. Everyone has injuries. Guess what? Man City are missing their best two players, arguably. They still battered you 4-1.
Both teams are missing the best players. I mean, Van Dijk's obviously a massive.
But don't drop Henderson back there. Do you know what I mean? Or Fabinho.
I completely agree with you, but I think Klopp set his team out to fail from the beginning because the way that he was talking about the mind games and trying to do it, he was already building his excuse for a loss.
Yeah.
Now, as a manager for a top team, for a top team like Liverpool, let's face it, who have ran the show for the last 3 years in Europe, in the Premier League, they've been brilliant. Don't like Liverpool, but you got to give the hats off to them. Simple as that. They haven't turned up for any really big games this season. They haven't clicked. And obviously, losing Van Dijk has been massive for him. Matip, Joe Gomez.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They've missed all the key centre halves. Fabinho's done a job back there. He's been fantastic. Jordan Henderson, I can understand why. He's not a centre half. For me, Liverpool lost that game in midfield. Gundogan ran the show. Phil Foden was just incredible.
If Henderson's in midfield, I think it not changes massively, but it does change the game. Bit of energy for Liverpool.
Yeah, definitely. But they were playing youngsters as well. They played Curtis, I believe it was Curtis Jones in midfield as well. Great player, but
too early for that game.
Yeah, completely agree. A game too big for him. He should have gone for experience and just gone, right, okay. Kabak could have gone in the back with Fabinho, or the new Ben Davis could have gone back in the back. He could have gone to a back three and played a back five with Trent, and he could have done something different to change the complexity. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Addison's goals separated the game. But I think City in the first half had a better chance as well. They had the penalty, which, let's face it, Gundogan scored a field goal.
It was shocking. Yeah,
it was a shocking penalty.
Ready for the Super Bowl, wasn't he?
Yeah, but let's face it, even his goals he took only just went in because they hit the crossbar both of them. So, but for me, City are starting to click. They had a poor start of the season.
Sorting the defence out.
And they're clicking. John Stones looks rejuvenated. Let's credit where credit's due. He looked down that. Everyone wrote him off, but he's fantastic.
Massive shout to Diaz.
You got to look for me. You got to look at it. Apart from the penalty, what chances did Liverpool have? Any that can you remember?
Oh, I'd say the only chance they had, probably the best one in the first half, was the Mane header. I thought Trent did brilliantly, cutting onto his right. And Mane should, in my eyes, should be hitting the target there. Perfect height. But apart from that, mate, they didn't create anything.
See, the penalty for me, it was a penalty, but it was a very soft penalty. Do you know what I mean?
It's a modern day penalty, isn't it?
Yeah, Salah's made a meal of it. Diaz shouldn't touch him, but Salah's made a meal of it.
Diaz has been unreal since he started.
Yeah, he has. But other than that, you meet Alisson. He was unwell weeks before, for the last couple of weeks, unwell. He shouldn't have been starting that game for me because, yes, it's a massive game, but you can tell that he wasn't match sharp. Mm-hmm. You tell he wasn't 100%. And that was a risk from the beginning.
Yeah.
But again, 100%. City, for me, outplayed Liverpool. They were fantastic. The midfield show just ran it. Gundogan, the little pockets of space Gundogan was finding. Mm-hmm. It was just a joy to watch as a football fan, just seeing playing a false nine, how it should be. I mean, how you're playing it. And Foden, wow, that lad's got a special career. That's all we can say about that.
100%. Next one was obviously your boys, your boys Chelsea beating Sheffield United on the road 2-1. My match was Werner. Why you won? A bit like the Spurs game. Chelsea got the job done. XG had Sheffield 0.81 to Chelsea's 1.0. So reflection was saying it was fair. Possession, you obviously had a lot more possession, 68-29, but I swear about 100% of that was in your own fucking half. Shots was 8 to Sheffield, 9 to you. Both had throw on target. My only things I've got from this was Werner was great. The ref was an idiot.
Kevin Friends.
Rudiger I don't get his statement on Twitter. Just admit you fucked up. You won. Just admit you fucked. It was a stupid error from him and the keeper. There was no communication.
No, agreed.
It was poor. But like I said, you got the job done. It wasn't pretty. Under Tuchel, you're getting the results, so no one's going to question it just yet. But I've got to admit, and me and my housemates were talking, as a neutral who loves going from that Man City free-flowing football to watching Chelsea, I was like, fuck me.
This under Tuchel just reminds me of the Mourinho early days, kind of like, well, just let them have the 1-0 win and we'll just shut everyone else out, which is all good and tasty, but we spoke about this game beforehand and we were both a bit worried because Sheffield United started to come to a bit of form, and let's face it, they can be a dangerous team. On their day, they can be dangerous. They're very hard to break down. Yeah, they're very organised. Chris Wilder is a fantastic manager. Chelsea, let's face it, there was dog shit for the first 40 minutes. Backwards passing, it was side-to-side passing, the shit that I hate kind of situation. And then it just kind of like one move just kind of clicked and it worked. Werner was causing problems from the very first minute. You could tell there's a difference in him. He was getting in between the lines. Yeah.
That's the problem. He couldn't deal with his pace.
It was possession. Sometimes I thought it was possession for possession's sake. Let's face it, it was just to have the ball sometimes, not to really work him. Very slow to pass sometimes. Obviously, Sheffield United got a lucky break with Antonio Rudiger. For me, I love Mendy. But Mendy should be absolutely screaming at Rudiger there. It's my ball. It's my ball. But then at the same time, Sheffield United let themselves down by giving them a penalty straight afterwards. My only thing was with that is how long it took for VAR to realise that was a penalty.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the end of the day, I think it was a fair result. I wouldn't have been surprised if Sheffield United drew because I think they played very well. But I think towards the end of the game, with the passing football, we kind of
as well.
Yeah, it was kind of like our game management was better. Under Lampard, the game management was under question. It could be 2-0 up, but you always felt a team could get a win.
Yeah.
Where the game management seems to be a lot more. It's a lot better. It's a lot. You know what I mean? That's 100%. Where I'm different. But the free-flowing football we had under Lampard is gone.
Yeah,
that's the difference. There's not many clear-cut chances. Maybe you look over the last 4 games under Tuchel, there's not been a lot of clear-cut chances we've had, but we've took some of them that we've had.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that literally the difference between the two teams and what I summed up perfectly was one's worth about 500 million and one's not. And that's legit.
It's just the passing quality.
Exactly. But no, you definitely deserve
for me,
the win.
It was the bench.
You bring on
Sheffield United had 5 subs that you could bring on other than a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Chelsea had the full 9, and there was missing Kai Havertz. He was out. You know what I mean?
But you still have people like Hudson-Odoi.
Pulisic was out. We had Hudson-Odoi come on. We had
Abraham come off a bench.
Abraham, Giroud. The players are endless for Chelsea.
Yeah.
It's a nice thing to have, but again, it was a just right win for us. It wasn't anything special.
100%. And then the last game of the weekend was obviously last night's game. Leeds United 2, Palace 0. I watch it because my housemate's a massive Leeds fan. My match was Rafinha for me. They gave it Bamford, but I thought Rafinha ran the show. I think Leeds were really good last night, really worth their money. I thought Palace were very poor. I think that was a bit of Palace being poor was due to how good Leeds were, but also themselves. XG had Leeds 2.68 to Palace's 0.37. So Palace had the worst XG of the weekend. 68% possession in Leeds' favour, obviously. 17 shots to Palace's 8 and 7 shots on target to Palace's 3 for Leeds. There's not much more I want to say. Leeds were fantastic. Leeds climb up in the top half. And they're just a real joy to watch. And I think Rafinha, why no one else is in for him this summer for 17 million.
Well, suppose Liverpool are.
They are now.
Summer. Yeah.
And I just think it's weird. Like, this is what I mean. This is why I thought was always weird. And I was briefly talk about that. I made a good point to make. I was like, he's 17 million. Pepe was 72 million.
You could say the same argument for Kante and Pogba. Kante was 36.
True.
Pogba was 18. No, but
I'm on about like I'm looking at they came from the same league, same position. I just don't get how Rafinha, obviously I know he's linked, has slipped through so many other Premier League teams. Do you know what I'm saying? Like this league team get promoted, they pay 70 million for this winger. And to be fair, mate, he's levels above everyone else on that pitch.
He is quality.
But Palace, I said this to you last night on text, said, if they lost Zaha, they'd get relegated. I'm not even kidding.
No, I completely agree.
I don't know, Eze's a good player, and he will be very good, but they created nothing, did they?
Well, mate, but let's face it, that XG that you said was at 0.35.
37.
That doesn't surprise me about Zaha. So Hart is that heartbeat of that team.
Hart's that 1 XG per game.
They don't score. They don't create anything. I mean, especially Ben Thankyou up front, they don't really do anything.
That they brought him on, and I just think
the new signing they've got is okay. With Roy Hodgson and Parish, you're going to have an organised defence, but they had no one to exploit Leeds' in between the lines and stuff.
100%.
I mean, Leeds, let's face it, the most entertaining Premier League team to watch, without a shadow of a doubt. They're fantastic to watch. They're entertaining. Bamford, for me, is what we want from a striker. His work ethic is fantastic. Rafinha's decent. You know what I mean? It was just a Leeds show. It was, for me, even before the game kicked off, when I saw the lineup, I was thinking, how many for Leeds? Because it was just that it just had this ran that out for us.
Yeah, 100%.
The Palace without Zaha is very poor.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't really put up a fight. It was like basically having a boxing match with one bloke already half knocked out.
Yeah,
kind of situation.
Yeah, 100%.
But Leeds, it was a deserved result. Let's face it, I think we all had Leeds to win that game about Zaha.
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. So before we go, I'll ask you this every week. Which team was your team of the week? Like, as
team
in not,
of the week.
As in which team? Obviously, not your whole front 11. I mean, like, which team played the best for you?
For me, it was between Aston Villa and Leeds.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people will be saying City, but I think Villa did a very good job defensively, let's face it. And Leeds are very entertaining and good attacking. City probably get the plaudits, but I'd probably have to say Leeds for the attacking fluidity that they've got.
I
thought you could see the work on the training ground works on the pitch. They're very fluid, and they trust in each other. There's a lot of cohesion kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Bielsa is just Bielsa. He's worked that team brilliantly.
Fair enough. And my last question was, who was the player of the weekend?
Oh, player of the weekend. It's got to be Foden. It has to be Foden.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He's just different sauce. He really is.
He really is. He's 100%.
Mate, everyone was slating Pep when he didn't put him straight into that team after a couple of games he had. But it looked like Pep was right and everyone else was wrong because he is coming into his own as a false nine or whatever position he plays at the moment for him.
Last question. Who was the disappointing team of the weekend?
Disappointing for me, it's got to be Arsenal.
Arsenal. Interesting.
I just feel for the players Arsenal's got and everything with the manager who worked under Pep, I just think they're very
Yep.
They're a nearly team. Now, yes, they beat Chelsea convincingly and they've had a couple of good results, but you expect Arsenal to beat Villa.
I thought you were going to say someone like Southampton or Liverpool.
See, yeah, but the thing, the Liverpool, we kind of had that a result in our head that Liverpool were going to win.
True.
They lose, so to say.
But Southampton, we didn't.
No, Southampton, we didn't. But it was kind of like, it was going to go down to obviously how the bounce back from the 9-0 and Newcastle playing at home and that lot. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of those, but I just think with Arsenal, they've got no excuses in my opinion, because yes, they've lost Leno for 2 more games, they've lost David Luiz, but that's not the heart of their squad. I mean, Aubameyang is just assholes. Like I said, you can't see him scoring in that game if they played for 3 weeks. Do you know what I mean? It's as simple as that, and I just think Villa just did the job on them, and I think Arsenal can give more, and they should give more. And if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be very disappointed.
Fair enough. And this is actually the last question, because it's come to my mind. This is something we should do every weekend. So if you could be front row seat at any goal this weekend, what would you like to see live?
Phil Foden's.
Yeah,
that is fourth. It's the 4th goal against Liverpool. I think that was just quality just to sit down and watch that.
I think I'd love to see the Bruno one.
That was quality.
And the Ward-Prowse free kick as well.
The thing is, there was quite a few goals that were quite
tasty.
Different. It's very hard, but I think, like I said, I think the game, the magnitude that City, City, I think that the magnitude of that game and what that means for us, the league, I think that goal mattered massively, and it was a brilliant goal from Foden. He's a young English talent. Let's face it.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for coming as always, Ben.
Thank you very much.
Get used to coming. Obviously, we'll be doing another video on Friday, or Thursday. It'll be out on Friday. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're new around here, we're on the road to 100 subscribers. Hit that like button. In the comments, in the description below will be the my Twitch channel and my social medias. Get at me, come say hello. Let us know in the comments what was the result of the weekend, goal of the weekend, and how did you fancy football go? Until the next one, we'll see you again.